All right, and we are live. What is up, everybody? Welcome to Traffic Tuesdays. What are we talking about today, Michael?
Man, today we are talking about organization and data organization.
Data organization. Now, why are we going to talk about that? What is up with organization? Do
So
you,
I
do you like,
am,
yeah,
yeah, I apologize, but I am a freak about organization, right? So I have folders for folders on top of other folders. And that's how I stay organized because I feel like I'm going to forget something so important or I'm going to misplace something. And I'm like a freak about that. Even like my desk, I'm like, I have certain tabs open. And then when I'm done with those tabs, I close them out and then like tabs for other tabs. So it's like very like crazy. I don't have like 50 tabs. I have 5 windows with 3 tabs open in each. So I'm very that's
that's
how
so
I
funny.
roll.
I feel you, like folders for folders for folders. I'm kind of the same way. So,
Yeah.
yeah, today we're going to be talking about data organization, and let's go ahead and get into the slides here. But last week, we talked about data tracking, right? So basically, we talked about what a pixel is, how a pixel works, why you want to set it up, and how to do that. And today, another really important part of getting your data set up properly is data organization, right? And now, Michael shared this framework with me and it blew my mind. So stay tuned. Make sure you watch the full episode because this is going to make a huge difference in it's going to be saving you money on your ad campaigns, and it's going to just save you peace of mind when you get your data organization set up properly. So with that being said, have you ever forgotten something when traveling, Michael?
Oh my gosh. Yes. So recently, I want to tell you a quick story about um, my family. We're a blended family, so we're missing some people here. But we had this opportunity to go on a trip to Arizona to unlock the secrets with Russell Brunson. It was a family trip, and we ended up going, all of us. And on this trip, so I said, all right, how about, 2 weeks before, like we go on this road trip across the country. I live in Ohio. It was in Arizona. So, like this map right here. And I said, along the way, we're gonna stop and we'll stop in Texas, we'll stop in Vegas, which was a horrible idea taking young boys there. We'll stop in Disney, we'll stop in LA, Santa Monica Pier. It was a great time. So before we were going, I said to my sons, I said, all right, I have this huge like military bag. And it's like we can all fit our stuff in one place because I knew we were going to be hopping in and out of hotels, and I think we stopped at least 6 places. And then like the potential of forgetting something was ginormous, right? It's like the parent in me. But my
Yeah.
older son, who is this guy right here, Mr. Xavier, he was like, you know what, Dad? I'm 19, I'm 20. Like I'm old enough to be responsible for my stuff, right? And it's like those famous last words. And I was like, all right, if you really think so. So after we do our trip, we had a great time. We went to Texas, got this 72-ounce steak. We did the Vegas shows. If you see in the bottom right hand corner, they tortured my son, my youngest son, on this ride at Disney. We did the whole event in Arizona, and we're driving back, and we're like in Texas. And my oldest son goes to me and says, "Hey, Dad, who has my iPad?" Right, thinking that his little brothers have it. And we're like, it's actually my iPad, right? But he's like, "Where's the iPad?" He had it because he wanted it the whole trip. And I'm like, "What do you mean? Where's your iPad?" Because kind of like my iPad. And luckily, we were able to find it on Find My iPhone, and we noticed while in Texas, it was still in Los Angeles. So it was there for like almost like a whole week. And I was like,
Oh,
gosh, yeah. So luckily, they were able to ship it over, and it was like one of those dad moments where I was like, "I told you so." But 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 that's what happens, right? So data tracking sometimes can feel like packing for a trip, and because we have so many funnels, and please put a hashtag too many funnels, or like raise your hand if you have so many websites and funnels and like online properties and all these things, and we have all these pixels, and they have to be on each one. So imagine if you could put all these pixels that you have, and this is just to name a few, into one area and only have to move one area of code. Cheryl, wouldn't that be nice?
That would be insanely fantastic. How do you do that, Michael?
All right. So I'm going to show you guys something that's awesome. And it's actually called, wait, hold on before we do that. I apologize. So if you do not set these things up, you have the ability to lose optimization, lose tracking on your sites. And we want to tell people, stop losing customer data. Stop losing customer data. And here's why. So if you do not have your site being tracked by whatever platforms you use, you can't optimize your campaigns. And if you can't optimize your campaigns, then everything just costs more. And the real solution here is Google Tag Manager.
Hashtag Google Tag Manager.
Yes, hashtag Google Tag Manager in the comments or in the replay. But Google Tag Manager, to me, I refer it to Dora's backpack, right? And Dora's backpack, when she goes on the trip, she packs everything in her backpack, and like she goes off, and like I just remember the song like I'm the map, but that has nothing to do with the backpack. But what you could do with Google Tag Manager is put all of your pixels basically into this package, it into this backpack, Google Tag Manager, and now you're only moving one piece of code to multiple funnels, or when you start a new website or you have something else going on, instead of having to remember, oh my gosh, Facebook and Google and Pinterest and TikTok and all these other things that you have, you only have to move one piece of code and everything is tracked along the whole way. How fun is that?
That's awesome. Yeah, and all these different platforms that allow you to advertise, I'll have different pixels, right? So like it's all this different things that you have to set up. And I think you were even mentioning too, like there's other data tracking mechanisms, like even ActiveCampaign has a code that allows you to track who is opening your emails and who's clicking through to your website and what they do on your website. And so there's all these different pieces of data, all these different pieces of code. And when you set this up, like Michael's about to show you, you don't have to worry about putting each one of these pieces on every single funnel that you have. You just set up Google Tag Manager once, and then they all go in this Doors Explorer backpack, and you're good to go. So
I can't tell you how many times I'm working with a customer, and especially in the beginning, if they don't have Google Tag Manager, set up, they have a book funnel and a application funnel and a lead magnet funnel. And it's like one pixel's on one of them, another pixel's on another. And it's like, oh my gosh, like we need to consolidate all this because we're losing that data every day that goes by with the visitors.
And it's valuable data, right?
Absolutely. This is how you build custom audiences. This is how you optimize for conversions, is based on the tracking. And if you don't have the tracking, then you're kind of wasting that traffic that's coming.
Yeah.
So a quick way to set it up is, one, you have to sign up for Google Tag Manager. So it's tagmanager.google.com. And then what you have to do is create a tag, and then you have to set a trigger. And then ultimately you have to install one piece of code, which is the Google Tag Manager code, to your global site settings. And to dive a little deeper, let me tell you all about how to set up Google Tag Manager. So step one, this is what the dashboard looks like. And if you can see kind of in the left-hand side where it says new tag with that red arrow pointing, that's what you'll click. And now we're going to set up your tag from here. And these are the tags that hold like the pixels or conversion events, whatever tag you need, whatever tracking you need, this is where you would add it. So from there, you would click on choosing a trigger, and a trigger is basically telling it, so this is the pixel I have, and where do I want to fire it? So in the middle there, you see where it says all pages. It could fire on specific pages that you set to it, or you could set it to all pages. And you can even get into button clicks and certain things like that to fire off certain tags, which could be your pixel. So you set up the tag, and now you set up the trigger. And then ultimately, the last thing you need to do is take this piece of code that they give you and install it in the global site settings. And that's it. Now your site is it's not only tagged, but you're able to track everything that is inside of Google Tag Manager. So the goal is to put all of your pixel tracking data from all your platforms inside of the Tag Manager, which will allow you then to be more organized.
Quick question, Michael. So you have to set up these triggers anyways, right? Because basically you're putting the pixel here that Facebook might give you, or whatever platform might give you that piece of code, right? You're putting that here. And then if you were doing all of your triggers from Facebook, you have to set up these triggers on the Facebook platform anyways, to set up your landing page trigger, your opt-in trigger, and all this other stuff. Instead of doing it on the specific platform, what you're saying is that you can actually set up the triggers in Google Tag Manager itself. Is that correct?
Yeah. So a scenario that happened earlier today was we're split testing something, and we're like inside of Google Tag Manager, and it's like this conversion event. And the conversion event is based on the opt-in URL. So every time the opt-in URL fires, that means the trigger is fired. It triggers the tag to tell the platforms whatever. Now, because we're split testing, well, now it's a different URL, because it can go to two different URLs. And all we have to do is add a new, the new split test URL inside of Tag Manager, and that's it. It automatically fires the conversion that was already made. So it's a little bit more optimized when it comes to that. So I don't have to set up a whole new conversion event and do all these things, because it's already set up inside of Tag Manager.
That is so awesome. It's like parametric data organization, because you're like, yeah, folders on folders on folders, right?
Oh, I was just about to say that. Folders. Yeah. It's all about you being organized. And the more organized we are, the better chances we have to have better campaigns, save money, and get the best conversions we can out of our traffic.
Absolutely. Yeah. So as you just said, one of the biggest advantages of doing this is that when you set this up properly, you're keeping all your pixels in one place. And so you're not going to forget to install your TikTok or your LinkedIn pixel on your funnel or your website, right? It's going to set up a system where you can easily install all of this information, all this data tracking on all your properties with just a couple clicks. And again, like Michael was just saying, this data is so valuable. This is what allows you to optimize your campaigns, right?
Yeah. And one thing that we forget to talk about is because optimization also happens of the load speed time on your website. So having Tag Manager actually increases your speed load time, because it doesn't have all the pixels to load. It actually just fires one piece of code, which then fires the pieces of code. So if that makes sense, it actually makes your website faster to have everything in one place.
Yeah. So instead of having your Facebook pixel on your funnel or your website, right? Instead of having your Facebook pixel, your TikTok pixel, your LinkedIn pixel, every time you add a pixel to your funnel, it slows down the load time, because it has to load that data for the page to load, right? But instead, you're just loading the Google Tag Manager, and then it sends data back to the platforms based on what triggers. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Yeah. And this can save you money on your campaigns, right? Because this especially makes a difference as you scale, right? So this can potentially impact the cost of your ad campaigns, because platforms charge you for slower load times. Like if you run an ad to a landing page that's, even a second slower, Facebook is going to charge you more for every click.
Yeah. Google does the same thing, depending on how they want the users to have a good user experience. And if there are things, whether it's speed time or the inefficiency of like how people can scroll or go on your site, all of that counts when it comes to, they call it a quality score. So if you have a good quality score, that means everything is relevant from the ad, and then the people are having good experience. But if you have a bad quality score, not only does it cost you more, but your ads won't be seen as much.
Right. So how awesome is that, you guys? Give us a hashtag Google Tag Manager if that is an amazing insight. And if now you know how to set up your organization with your data tracking so you don't forget anything, right?
Folders
So give
on
us
top of folders.
folders on folders. Yeah, so that's all we had for you guys today. Be sure to register at traffictuesdays.com. We got a free gift when you register, and you can get notified of all these shows. And yeah, thanks so much for watching, you guys, and we will see you next Tuesday.